2018 was a massive year for drama. I mean massive. Like, you thought 2016 was diarrhea? Well, this thing's the whole toilet. Anyways, in January of 2018, Logan Paul filmed a dead body, got it on trending, and everyone freaked out about it. The video was then removed, and this led to Logan Paul's most infamous apology ever. You know, the one where he's staring at the camera with a look on his face that can only be read as, "Dear God, did I leave the oven on? Or is that burning smell coming from my channel? Anyways, that would have been one thing, but this controversy also led to people finding out about Tana Mongeau, who also uploaded a storytime video about doing the same thing. She was going to the beach, and she too recorded a dead body. This video was supposedly uploaded around 2016, and then removed sometime close to Logan Paul's controversy, probably because Tana was worried about being cancelled just like Logan Paul. 2018 also had TanaCon, which landed the internet again in a frenzy. Basically, here's what happened. Tana tried to make her own version of VidCon known as TanaCon, where she would have all her fans come and hang out, and there were supposed to be other creators and stuff like Shane Dawson and whatever. And, they didn't really plan this event very well. They kind of, shoehorned it together, and as a result, a lot of people were left in the sun getting heat stroke, people didn't have food and water, everyone was just waiting on a long line, and the goodie bags also were not very good, so as a result, everyone wanted a refund. Everyone was chanting, "Refund, refund, give me my money back, I want some money, give me some money, or I'll turn your brain to honey," everyone wanted Tana to just give them their money back. It was a terrible event. So, as a result, this landed Tana in some hot water, with everyone wanting a refund. This, company Good Times was involved in the whole event, and yeah, it wasn't so good. Then Shane Dawson got involved and made a documentary basically about everything that happened, and then Tana cried on camera and everyone felt somewhat sorry for her, and then it basically all got skirted under the rug. So, I don't know, it was just a dumb event. Tons of creators were angry and pointed out the scummy nature of this entire controversy, and it played as one of the biggest fails for 2018. During 2018, there was also the Jeffree Star Dramageddon controversy, which was basically just him and his friends trash-talking each other back and forth. There was the infamous Laura Lee apology, the Gabby DiMartino versus Sniper Wolf drama, the Kenza Cosmetics scandal that involved Gabby Hanna and other makeup YouTubers, and the disgusting case of Lion Maker. We also sadly witnessed the widely viewed as unjust termination of Mumkey Jones. Bless his soul. But worst of all, worse than any other controversy this year, was that we witnessed in 2018 the worst YouTube rewind in history. And yes, I did analyze all of the YouTube rewinds, not once, but about 3 times, because some of them were really good and other ones I had to make sure were really bad, just so that I could say they were truly, truly horrible, and 2018 was really, really bad. It was actually one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. It wasn't real. It couldn't have been real. It wasn't canon. We will not treat it like it was canon. It was not there. Control Z, Control Z. Just press the Control Z button. We're going back to 2018 to stop this from happening. Seriously, if I could go back in time, it wouldn't be to stop anything bad historically from happening. It would just be to stop 2018's YouTube rewind from happening. By April of 2018, Google would end up releasing a new program known as Copyright Match, which was a more primitive version of Content ID that would be made available for YouTubers with over 100,000 subscribers. With Content Match, just like Content ID, a user is given a list of videos that have similar content in them to that of their own. And the user has the ability to look through these videos and assess if any of these videos from other people infringe on their copyright or fall under fair use. In respects to these similar videos, no action is taken until the copyright holder, aka the YouTuber, assesses whether the videos infringe on their copyright or not. If the video infringes on their copyright, the user can then file a DMCA takedown notice for the particular video. Or if they want to not take any action or give any strikes to channels, they can try contacting the re-uploader of their content instead to try and resolve the issue. It was made clear that any misuse of the Copyright Match tool by a user on the platform could result in them losing the privilege to use the Copyright Match tool. And this could also lead to their channel being terminated. So far, we haven't had any abuse that we know of with Copyright Match. And yes, so far it looks to be that Copyright Match is only made available for individuals with over 100,000 subscribers, but in good time, there could be a change that's made for users with less subscribers to have a similar tool. Content Match is also not yet made available for every single video on every single channel with 100,000 subscribers. It has its limitations. Hopefully in future, Content Match will be better developed and capable of being used by smaller creators. But in the meantime, we are given our limitations with this new YouTube tool. 2018 also marks changes for the YouTube Partner Program and its qualifications. You see, the YouTube Partner Program used to work for any channel as long as it had monetizable content on it, and as long as the channel applying was not already terminated from the YouTube Partner Program. Then in April of 2017, YouTube implemented a new review system for channels applying to the YouTube Partner Program. They also added the requirement of a channel needing at least 10,000 public channel views before it could be monetized. Then, in 2018, which is the year that we're currently on, even though I keep going back and forth, we're on 2018, guys, I promise. In 2018, this requirement for needing 10,000 public channel views was actually changed, so that instead, YouTubers would need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 public watch hours. Those 4,000 public watch hours, by the way, need to be gathered within a 12-month period for a channel to be eligible for monetization, which is something I'll probably never hit. Now pity me and subscribe! No, but actually, people were not happy about this change. It was hard enough maintaining monetization on the platform in general, and now it was even harder to get it in the first place for small creators. This 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscriber goal is still the current monetization requirement that we have to this day. This 4,000 watch hour and 1,000 subscriber goal is really not impossible, but for some channels it is quite difficult, which I think is why so many people were upset with this change. It actually is a little bit more sensible in the case of certain channels to be monetized by the previous means. A lot of music channels do have very low subscriber counts, some actually under 1,000 subscribers, but they have high view counts based on the fact that some of their songs blow up. And if this is the case, sometimes monetizing a channel like that will be very difficult. But in a lot of other cases, you might get 1,000 subscribers very easily and then struggle with getting enough watch hours. It really just depends. Overall, people were not happy with the new decision made by YouTube, but it still stuck. 2019 introduced the warning before you get a strike system. So basically, before you get 3 strikes, if you are a non-offending YouTube channel and you get your very first strike, that strike will count as a warning strike and will not affect your channel negatively in any way whatsoever. But you can only have 1 warning strike per channel, and that warning will last forever. After that point of you getting your very first warning, you will not be warned anymore, and you will receive actual strikes on your channel if you break community guidelines. 2019 also had its share of dramas and controversies throughout the year. Here are some to name a few. The Fantastic Adventures controversy, the Olivia Jade College scandal, the Shane Dawson and his cat podcast controversy. There was also the David Dobrik, Trisha Paytas, and Tana Mongeau drama. The Ace family drama, where when at the mall, they would buy their daughter a phallically shaped lollipop. This resulted in them not vlogging for about a month, and then going back to YouTube, apology video free, might I add. They justified the situation by saying their daughter would have stolen the lollipop if they didn't buy it for her, but people quickly pointed out that the fact that she was even in a store with such inappropriate things to begin with was a problem. Then, the Ace family allegedly staged a robbery to take their eyes off of the controversy. There was the Jaclyn Hill cosmetics scandal and fail, where her new makeup release was lumpy and furry. She offered refunds and assured that it was a manufacturing error and not that the lipstick was tainted, but a lot of people didn't believe that. There was the James Charles and Tati Westbrook drama, which led to the infamous video Bye Sister, which resulted in YouTube having to remove live subscriber counts, and on top of that, change to a 3-digit subscriber count. And the assumption here is that YouTube removed this live count to prevent people from having subscriber loss live streams, where people would live stream channels flopping in subscribers after controversies. There was the KSI versus Deji sibling drama, more YouTube copyright claim exploitation, the Kylie Jenner walnut face scrub drama, the PewDiePie donation switch that made people mad, the Daniel Cohen drama. During this time, Trisha Paytas also came out as a transgender man, saying that she was attracted to gay men and had Wang envy, so that's something. And then she apologized after backlash and said she wouldn't be transitioning because she makes a lot of money as a woman. There was the Austin Jones drama, where this creeper managed to get himself sentenced to 10 years in prison for exploiting his young fans. There was the Romeo Lacoste drama, where he too was caught inappropriately messaging underage girls. There was the Emma Chamberlain Paris Fashion Week drama, where she was invited to Paris Fashion Week and people were really upset about it because she wasn't considered a fashion YouTuber. And this is barely a drama, she was just invited to Paris Fashion Week and then people were upset about it, so whatever. There was the Jake Paul house party scandal, but we don't know much about it because everyone signed NDAs. There was the Pro Jared situation, PewDiePie vs. T-Series, Jake Paul vs. Cody Ko, JoJo Siwa and her asbestos makeup scandal, Cole Kerrigan exposing the Ace family, Bratale quitting YouTube, and Tana Mongeau got fake married to Jake Paul and they made beautiful money together. A rapper bought Hell Michigan and changed it to Gay Hell for pride. Matt Watson exposed a creeper ring on YouTube and made a video with the tag YouTube Wake Up exposing disturbing comments under the sections of YouTube videos, with many perverted timestamps. This spawned a lot of advertisers pulling away from YouTube again, and as a response, YouTube deleted a bunch of channels, censored a bunch of comments sections, and tried to collect information on those who were giving these inappropriate comments in the comments sections. Basically, this was Adpocalypse 3.0. Matt Watson was then called out by various YouTubers who believed he was exploiting the situation by making a video on the topic instead of going straight to YouTube and resolving things privately. I think a lot of people were upset not just because of the potential exploitation of this touchy situation, but also because it jolted the adpocalypse again. Anyways, there was a lot of drama in 2019. The terms of service and community guidelines in 2019 were nothing that we didn't already know, but despite this, there were still changes made to how YouTube was enforcing their community guidelines. Given the previous controversies that had piled up over the years, and even just the ones that were occurring during 2019, advertisers were more apprehensive than ever to remain on the platform. As a result of these skittish advertisers, YouTube would start cracking down heavily, even more so than usual, on channels about what content they could and could not promote and monetize on their platform. Remember, you may not always see a change in how YouTube's community guidelines or their terms of service are written to see a change in the platform as a whole. YouTube is constantly changing its system and always tweaks things to see what works best for their platform. They want things to work optimally so that they can have stable income streams, and if that means cracking down on content creation, that's what they'll do, community guidelines or not. When it comes to YouTube's community guidelines and how it reacts to various forms of content over the years, there's a definite pattern that takes place. And that is, with controversy comes action. Whether the controversy is at the fault of YouTubers or YouTube itself, it doesn't matter. Action always ensues after a bout of controversy so that YouTube can try and save what little advertising it might have at the time. YouTube usually responds to controversy in one or more of the following ways: by releasing statements, changing advertising methods, terminating channels, removing and age-restricting content, and by giving out strikes. It's common practice for YouTube to be hyper-responsive after a controversy, and since controversy is and always has been commonplace on the platform, it will continue to be hard for YouTube to balance giving grace to creators while also maintaining a good image and happy advertisers. As the years have gone by and the controversies have piled, it has become harder and harder and harder for YouTube to come down from its red alerts. And as a result, content creators are even more skittish than usual, just like advertisers are. It doesn't look like YouTube or advertisers are going to change their ways anytime soon, given the current climate of the culture they're in. But with content creators, you'll notice they're the ones over the years to have to make the changes, because otherwise they will lose monetization at best and be deplatformed at worst. In December of 2019, YouTube updated their harassment policy, which sent ripples through the cosmos of the internet. The harassment policy was originally used to deter YouTubers from sending their subscribers in mobs to other channels to give them hate comments and dislike their videos. The harassment policy was also originally used to deter people from recording other people without their consent, and also to keep YouTubers from releasing personal information about people. But the new modifications to YouTube's harassment policy were drastically different from what they once were. The new modifications to YouTube's harassment policy involved very anti-bullying tones to them, particularly to stomp out creator-on-creator harassment. All of a sudden, YouTubers weren't allowed to poke fun at each other and criticize each other's physical appearances or other characteristics about them. Even if it was a joke, or was a justified retort towards someone else's rude behavior, it wouldn't fly. This also meant that a bunch of videos made by creators in the past were now against YouTube's harassment policy and had to be, dealt with. Yes, content that was considered completely fine before was now being deemed bullying and harassment, and YouTube would no longer tolerate it. As a result, YouTube removed a bunch of videos and striked multiple channels. Some of the most notorious removals were iDubbbz's content cop on Leafy is Here, a video made by Gokinaru criticizing Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions, an animation of The Fine Bros by Psychic Pebbles, and some of Steven Crowder's videos. Many people were upset with the removal of this once tolerated content, but despite people's distaste, YouTube would still continue removing content, striking channels, and terminating accounts that did not adhere to the new harassment policy. This scared YouTubers, especially commentators who didn't quite know what would fly in the newly uncharted waters of YouTube. Was it okay to criticize people? Be brash? Provocative? What was the threshold? Nobody really knew. It was a little bit difficult to gauge given the new settings for what was considered bullying and making fun of people. But despite this, YouTube stuck with the changes, and in turn, commentary channels had to adapt. Now, of course, commentary and criticism videos, even now, still do very well on YouTube, even with these changes being put into place, but they are what I would call at least a little bit tamer than they once were, more conservative with their accusations and comments towards each other, and usually a little less harsh. Overall, YouTube's 2019 harassment policy has changed commentary and criticism drastically on the platform. And that concludes episode 4 of the history of YouTube. I'll be seeing you next week with episode 5, our final episode in this series. If you don't want to wait and you want to see the full series now, it is all on my Patreon. Consider checking me out on there, as well as liking and subscribing and doing all that trash.